2020 offseason brought three huge import names into the LCS, as TSM signed SwordArt, Team Liquid signed Alphari, and Cloud9 brought over Perkz via buyout from his longtime home at G2 Esports. The money laid out for these deals was staggering, ratcheting the LCS's financial arms race up another notch. But 1 year later, all three players are reportedly not only leaving the teams that brought them into the league, but probably leaving the league entirely. Now with the benefit of hindsight, how can we evaluate the SwordArt, Alphari, and Perkz deals and decide whether any of them were worth the money? Let's start with the deal that was easily the most disappointing, TSM's acquisition of SwordArt. TSM reportedly signed SwordArt to a 2-year contract worth $3 million per year. It was the biggest salary the LCS has ever seen, justified by SwordArt's epic legacy and strong recent results with Suning in the LPL. Before Suning, SwordArt was a core part of the legendary Flash Wolves of the LMS. And before that, he competed with Gamania Bears at the 2013 World Championships and lost 0-2 to Faker's SKT T1, who were en route to a date with Destiny in their first Worlds victory. With all of that put together, SwordArt had over 600 pro games under his belt at the end of 2020. His career didn't appear to be tailing off into the sunset either. SwordArt had just helped bring Suning to the World Finals against Dom1 Gaming. TSM's reward for giving out the biggest deal in league history was a 3rd place finish in the spring playoffs and 4th place in summer, missing out on attending the World Championships completely. During the spring playoffs, SwordArt posted a 2.5 KDA and gave up the 2nd highest share of his team's deaths of any support in the tournament. In the summer playoffs, his KDA was even weaker at just 2.1, and his death share leapt up to nearly 27%, the highest of any support. It's not fair to blame SwordArt disproportionately for TSM's results. The overall roster of Huni, Spica, Power of Evil, Lost, and SwordArt just didn't quite work. But when you're drawing such a large paycheck, it's only natural that you'll garner more scrutiny. Simply put, SwordArt and his teammates didn't deliver enough to justify his contract. And with TSM releasing SwordArt from his 2nd year without even earning back some buyout money, this move is going to be remembered as a flop for quite a while. The next deal up is Team Liquid's big move to bring over the most individually skilled top laner in Europe, Alphari. Unlike SwordArt, Alphari wasn't coming in with an epic team result under his belt. Alphari and his teammates at Origin had reached 4th place in the spring playoffs, but fell apart in the summer and plummeted to a 10th place finish with a 6-12 record. But even on the 10th place team, Alphari still picked up first team All-Pro honors, which was more than enough to catch the eye of Steve Aronset and his money guns. Details of Alphari's contract haven't been reported, but it was a 3-year term, and a reasonable guess would put his salary somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million per season, in a similar range to his teammate Jensen. What did Team Liquid receive for that money? Well, a pretty good start. They won the lock-in tournament with Alphari putting up plus 547 gold plus experience difference at 10 minutes, and a tournament-leading 586 damage per minute. Then Alphari was voted first team All-Pro for the spring regular season. TL reached the spring finals despite Armeo having to sub in for Santorin, and they took Cloud9 to 5 games. Alphari's year was partially derailed by some mid-year drama that saw him ride the bench for a few weeks and cost him a chance at another All-Pro appearance, but in the 12 games he did play, he posted plus 668 GXD10, the highest number in the league, and 532 DPM, tied for 5th best at all positions among players with at least 5 games played. Alphari was fully back in the saddle in time for the summer playoffs, and once again he carried the team to the finals, this time dropping 3-0 to 100 Thieves. At Worlds, TL earned a tiebreaker and nearly escaped their group, but ultimately came home disappointed. Now, according to rumors, Alphari will be heading back to the LEC, and Team Liquid will be recouping part of their investment by selling his contract. When you place 2 LCS finals, 1 first-team All-Pro, and a trip to Worlds on one side of the scale, and weigh them against 1 year of give or take $1 million minus the buyout they're getting back, TL's deal with Alphari looks to me like it was pretty successful. Finally, we land on the most highly discussed move of all. You've heard him called the greatest Western player of all time. You've heard about $11 million. You've seen him featured on Run It multiple times. Perkz was pretty much the story of the year for the LCS. Before we can put his performance and results in proper context, though, we need to disentangle the dollar figures. I've seen people claim that Cloud9 spent $11 million in acquiring Perkz or other misrepresentations, and that's not accurate to what has been reported. There are no firm, reliable reports of the buyout Cloud9 paid to G2, but there are firm reports that Perkz was given a salary of around $2.7 or $2.8 million per year, around 10% less than SwordArt. And like Alphari, Perkz' financial hit will be offset to some degree by whatever buyout Cloud9 receives when they move him this offseason. If you want to dive into Perkz' individual performance throughout the year, you can go back through the Run It archives. But on the achievements front, here's what Perkz helped deliver. 1 LCS championship, 1 MSI appearance, 1 Worlds quarterfinal, 1 first team All-Pro selection. And what did they actually pay? A little under $3 million in salary, adjusted by whatever buyout they paid and whatever buyout they're about to receive. As a total spend, Cloud9 will probably land somewhere around 3 times what Team Liquid spent in Alphari, and they received an LCS trophy, an admittedly weak MSI showing, and a Worlds quarterfinal as compensation. Is that worth it? You can decide for yourself. As a gut reaction, whenever a team invests a huge sum of money into a player like SwordArt, Alphari, or Perkz, and then loses them just 1 year later, it can feel like a failure. But when you stack up the actual net spending against the outcomes these teams were able to achieve, the picture comes into better focus. With the 2021 offseason just around the corner, we all want to know whether the dollar figures are going to continue to rise, and I'm just as excited as everyone else to see who the candidates will be for this year's best and worst acquisitions.
Holiday season is almost here, which means that there's great shopping opportunities over at Alienware. That's right, they've got their new R13 and R14s that are out, and guess what? I just want to ask you that whenever Black Friday comes up, or Cyber Monday, or Deals Tuesday, or Awesome Wednesday, whatever, I don't know, that you check out alienware.com/Travis and then click over on the banner up at the top to head to their Black Friday deal, their holiday deals, because like maybe you're going to purchase something, and this would be a great way for you to support the channel. Is you purchase something and then you like tweet at them and let them know you did it because of me, and then I feel good about myself, and I can finally tell my family that they can be proud